women were whipped, jailed, and often murdered for attempting to learn to read and write.
One of the most powerful voices of our generation. What an amazing person. She may not want to hear this. I don't think she does. I know she doesn't do it for herself. She does it for the people, the sacrifices she's made, the attacks she's endured. But the enlightenment and the empowerment that she's given is invaluable to us as a people, to us as a country, to us as a world. I want to invite each and every one of you to get her book, State of Emergency, How We Win in the Country We Built. DB, can you do the honors of who we have back on the show again?
Yes, she's an activist and a humanitarian. She's one of the organizers of the 2017 Women's March, which was recognized by the Time magazine, Time 100. She's made numerous public appearances and protested against the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, among others, which she still continues to fight for social justice. She's a citizen of Sway in the Morning, and she came by here last time with my son and Yandy Smith. She's here to talk about her new book, State of Emergency, How We Win in the Country We Built, which is out now. Please welcome her back to the show, Tamika Mallory.
Tamika!
Hey, Tamika!
Hey, family!
Hey!
Big congrats!
What's up, family? Congratulations on the book. You're a great writer.
Thank you so much, man. It's my first big project, and it was a short timeline, and so very aggressive. I learned a lot, and I learned a lot about myself in the process. So I'm pretty proud of what I've created.
Talk about the process, if you could be transparent. Like, what did you learn about yourself that you didn't already know?
Well, I know, the discipline and focus that it took to complete it, especially in the short time that I had. Usually people start writing books. I know you guys know it can take a long time. It can take over a year. I think some of the greatest writers of our time have missed their deadlines over and over, just trying to get it right. And in my situation, they really wanted me to have the book out by the time the 1 year anniversary to when I spoke in Minneapolis after George Floyd was killed. And so that, just was an aggressive time period. And I learned that I do have the focus, and I did have what it took to sit still and really just kind of pour out of myself so much that I've learned. I also worked with another young man, Philip McHarris, on research and really digging deeper into things that I knew. A lot of things, we understand from a surface level, but once you get into the real reading and understanding of the time that these things were happening in, and just understanding the history in a deeper way, there's so much context that we lose that actually provides, a knowledge base for what we're experiencing today. So it was really a hard process because I was living in Louisville, Kentucky during the heart of when the book was being written. And I did work with another young lady, Ashley Antoinette, that made me sit still. And we had a schedule of 4 hours every other day that we would write and talk and go through all my notes and things that I came up with. And we're going to protest in the evening, in the morning,
Wow.
Running in and out, and then still having to go back and sit still for these 4 hours. It was hard.
Wow. I mean,
That's a hell of a process.
I watch you all the time. As I follow you, and I see the work you've done. I've seen the work, your colleagues have done, and I must say I'm very proud. It's really proud. I'm very proud,
Okay.
and I know it's extremely exhausting. And, I've seen you guys be questioned. It's funny. Sometimes the people that are closest to you that make the things most difficult, and you got to endure that. People attack you. Whenever you walking in the light, you're going to attract everything. You're going to attract the moths. As well as the butterflies, you know what I mean? But it takes a whole lot to be able to keep your blinders and walk forward and continue to walk into that light. How did you endure your naysayers when every day you're dedicating every moment of your life to just bettering the environment, the community for our people, but then you have people from the community that seem to want to work against you? What was your process in dealing with that, coping in that? Go ahead.
It's an everyday thing. It's not what was the process because we deal with it every day. I
Okay.
was just actually reading a post that someone did. Diddy did a video on his own. Nobody asked him to because only in Diddy fashion, when he's behind something, you can't tell him what to do. He's going to run with it his own way. And he posted about my book yesterday, and I was reading some of the comments. And the level of ignorance from our own people is just so, like, for instance, this is something that I keep hearing people say. Well, Cardi B can't even speak well, so why would we have her in the book as for a forward? And my thing is, get the book and read it and understand why Cardi would be in the forward. Obviously, it was intentional. It's for a reason. She's there because she's in conversation with Dr. Angela Davis, and they're talking about something similar. Because first of all, I don't think that she can't talk. I think when Cardi speaks, millions of people get it around the world. But she understands that she doesn't have the perfect language to talk about racial justice, and she calls people all the time, whether it be Sean King or myself or others, to get information about issues and try to figure out where does she stand. And sometimes she walks away saying, okay, I agree with you. And other times she says, no, I don't agree. And this is something that I'm going to speak of in my own way. And I think that's powerful because while she may be an entertainer, she's still using her voice to speak truth to power. And the reason why I put the two of them together in the forward of the book is because I know that there are other Cardi B's out there who are trying to figure out, is there a place for me in this movement? I care about the issues. I have the passion, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be accepted if I show up and I'm trying to get involved. And I want to make sure, in fact, I'm really writing more so for them, and not just writing, but all the work that we do is for the Cardi B style, the Cardi B type. And that's my target audience. When they ask you, when you're doing your funding and all of those things, and they say, well, who are you trying to reach? My position is I want to reach those people who listen to and follow Cardi B, those who watch Love and Hip Hop. That doesn't mean that others are not important, but those people have generally found some entry point to do whatever work they're going to do. It's the folks that haven't that I'm most concerned with. And so, it's sad that our people at times, because of the trauma of what we have experienced, can be so bitter and bruised and broken. And as a leader, you have to understand that most of the time it's not even about you, because people are critiquing something they haven't even read. So this has nothing to do with what's in the book. It has everything to do with what's in their hearts and what's in their lives.
I read the book. I think the book is eloquently written. I love what Cardi B said. Yes, even addressing that. Yes, I'm a rapper. Yes, I twerk. No, I'm not trying to be your children's role model, but I still have an opinion on the injustices of black and brown people. I don't care that I'm not perfect. I don't care that it doesn't come out eloquently, which I think it does. But people misunderstand my message sometimes because it comes out wrong. I don't express it like a scholar. I get emotional. I let my anger bring out the accent, and sometimes it exposes things I may not know. I curse, call people out, but you don't have to. You don't have to be a college graduate to be on the right side of history. That right there. How powerful is that?
Yep.
And a lot of those who critique never been on those front lines. They like what they call Monday morning quarterbacks. They're not willing to sit outside of someone's home and sit on their lawn because of the injustice in that environment and be arrested and go to jail like you guys have done.
The middle of COVID.
In the middle of COVID.
We were inside of a jail in Kentucky. And, that was another thing. Oh, this must be fake for Portia and Yandy. They just trying to get on TV. And it's so sad that we speak of what we don't know. And I want to do better in my life. And because of what I experienced, I am doing better in terms of jumping to have an opinion on things I don't know. So, for instance, the issue around Portia, it was, she was there for the cameras. Actually, there were no cameras with her, and she was threatened because of COVID, she was threatened by whoever the folks, I guess it's Bravo that does Housewives. She was threatened by some of the folks for production to say, listen, we're going to have to cut you from several scenes because you can't come back to production after being around people at rallies and in jail. Like, that puts other people's lives in danger. When I say threatened, I don't mean it in a negative way. I'm just saying they were trying to protect their set, and they did not want her returning after being at rallies. So they didn't send one camera at all. The footage that she received that they used, they had to purchase from people who were on the ground doing, taking videos and little cell phone clips. That's how they put together the package that they showed around her activism. But they didn't send one camera from the Housewives show to tape her when she first came and got arrested. And again, we speak on things that we have no understanding of. Who the heck, when they have a child at home, wants to go to jail with folks? And the second time that Portia and Yandy were arrested, I didn't even go in because I wasn't feeling well. And the last thing you want to do is go to jail when you already have heat exhaustion and you're not feeling well. And for us, when we have civil disobedience at our marches and different actions, it's a personal choice. There's no pressure on anybody. There's no, well, you are less of an activist or you're less courageous because you didn't get arrested. We don't do that. We tell everybody this is a personal choice, because when you walk through those doors, they can easily come back and tell you, oh, we lost your paperwork, or there's something on your record that has to be dealt with, so you got to stay more time. You need to get a lawyer. You don't know. When Sandra Bland went to jail about a broken tail light and an argument with a cop, she ended up dead. She was in there for 3 days, and she ended up dead. And we, all summer that year, we kept saying, if I get arrested and I die, I did not kill myself. So this is a personal choice that you're making to put your life in jeopardy. And, of course, there are people out there who use these moments for their own attention. But that is rare. It's very rare. And I think, again, we have to stop speaking on what we don't know and trying to tear down people who are doing what you are not willing to do.
Amen. There it is.
Tamika D. Mallory is here. State of Emergency, how we win in the country we built. Forwards by Angela Y. Davis and Cardi B. Trace, you want to jump in there?
Oh, my gosh. Absolutely. Tamika, love to you always, my sis, in all the ways.
Love you too. Love you too.
I think that from what you were just sharing, it reminds me that so many people just don't honor the fact that we're multifaceted. You know what I mean? They get a slice of who you are and mistake it for the entire pie. You know what I'm saying? They look at Cardi, maybe they're just first introduced by a single clip on Instagram, and then they're just glued to that and think that there's no way she's capable of thinking about anything else. And then on the flip side, it can be for a Tamika, an activist, and think that you were just born an adult with a microphone, you know what I mean, who was leading the community this way. And in your book, what I think is so important for us in honoring your humanity as well, and caring about your mental health and making sure that we protect you the same way that you're protecting us. I love that you gave us so much vulnerability, and you are so candid with speaking about your life as an adolescent, and saying how you believe you spent your time defying your purpose in the beginning, you know what I mean? And you had like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, to quote you. Can you share a bit about your adolescence, that duality, and how it changed to Tamika Mallory we know today?
Listen, man, I was in the street. I grew up in the projects in Harlem. People, like you said, people think I was born into where I am today, and that's it. And now, for some reason, that I'm trying to act like a perfect person. I am so not perfect. I have many flaws, just like the rest of us. And when I was young, I was growing up in the projects, but my parents were very active. They were in whatever had to do with empowerment for Black folks. We had to go, and it was very similar to church. You didn't get an opportunity to say, well, I don't feel like it this week. You had to be there. It was a part of the structure for which our family existed. And as I got older, you're going to rallies, walking through the project. So the hood is lit. Everything is going on. People hanging out all night. I'm watching the girls with the bamboo earrings. I was trying to figure out how to get me some 5411s.
Okay.
My parents were like the kids, but I wanted all the colors of those. Then they came out with the Asics and the leather jackets with the tassels on it. And I was like, this is my life. Like, what is happening here? Why am I living in a situation where I'm always around all these old folks there and they dashikis? They were into their culture. I'm like, this is not what I want to do. I was watching movies like Belly. And I just decided that, hey, I'm going to start running away from home. And that's what I did. I ran away and I found a crew, and I got in the street. But then I met my son's father, and it basically getting pregnant slowed me down. And I always say my son saved my life, because had it not been for him, the road that I was traveling was one that would absolutely have led me to the same place where his father ended up, which is dead. And, Jason was a good dude who came from a good family, but he dealt with a lot of issues in terms of his parents and their lifestyle. Both of them were, they had the disease of addiction. They were perpetual drug abusers. And at the time, his mother, she, who God rest her soul, she's now deceased, but when I met him, his mother was in prison. And so he was dealing with a lot. And like I said, he had an amazing family because his grandparents were there to take care of him. But no matter what, when your parents are not stable, sometimes it just is something you can't overcome. Mm-hmm. And he got killed. And when he was killed, I was just like, wow, like I now see what my parents had been trying to tell me. It's like it clicked. And I started to dedicate myself to the movement in a real serious way. And, it was personal experience for sure, but there was the foundation of the fact that they had been bringing me around it for so long that it wasn't like it wasn't a place that was unfamiliar. And so I just kind of got involved. And, I worked for Reverend Sharpton for 14 years, grew into my own leadership, and here I am today. But it's okay that some people have to travel through whatever road they need to go through in order to end up where we're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We like where you arrived and continue to live, okay? We appreciate it. I found one part of the book really interesting, and thought it was really great. It's a part called Karenism, and this is where you say you saved your moment to speak directly to white women. And that's a conversation I would like to sit and listen to. And it was important that you put this in your book. Why? And what is it that you wanted? What is it you wanted to discuss with white women?
Sway, after being, what we went through with the Women's March. It was hard. Most historic gathering of people around the world. But particularly here in the U.S., there's never been a day where more people have marched. And we were responsible for that. But we worked alongside a lot of folks who had no racial analysis. They hadn't done any work in unpacking their own issues. They just wanted to fight Trump. And we went through a lot to educate them on the fact that Trump wasn't the beginning, nor will he be the end of especially the sexism that they were so concerned about, but the racism, the fascism, and all the things, all the isms. And to teach people, as you know, because obviously since at least George Floyd, but definitely the trio of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd, we all have found ourselves having to educate white folks much more than usual. And it's a hard task to have to explain over and over and over again all these issues, and then to realize that the women that we were working with, we were literally starting at ground zero for some of them. They had no idea, no understanding, and, that's the reason why I talk in the book about allies versus accomplices, because they have become allies. We all wanted to fight for the same thing, but they can turn it off and they could go home and say, okay, well, I'm still going to go to my mother's house knowing that she's racist as can be. She, she uses derogatory language to describe Mexicans and black people. But I can still go hang out there and say nothing to her about it because I'm an ally, right? It's only me. But when you become an accomplice, that's somebody who's going to say, I will not come back to this house unless you stop using the words that you're using to describe other communities because it's harmful. And if you think of them that way, you will treat them that way. And I wanted in the book to take my experience within the Women's March and allow for white women to pick up the book and read it and say, here's the work I have to do. And I need to make sure that I explain this to other people around me because it is very, very challenging when you are a Black woman specifically to work around white women who will weaponize their white tears against you in the drop of a dime. But if you do the same, you are looked at as dangerous, unstable, incapable of handling a job. And so it's actually life-threatening for a Black woman to cry in public or to get upset. But for a white woman, if you do it, it actually is the thing that will get you all the attention in the world, even if it means that you're lying on a Black man, as we have seen so many times. And so I decided that it was an important part to write in the book because as so many white women have come to me to say, I'm ready, I wanted them to have a resource of somewhere that they could go so they could learn more about the abuse. And I'll say this, I'm not the only person that wrote these types of books. There's other material out there that covers some of the same things. And hopefully my book, because of my visibility, will open up the minds and hearts of others to go out and pick up material from other voices, other thought leaders. But I just tried to write it in my own way with my own seasoning that, only what they say is what's for you is only for you. And I think that's why State of Emergency is such a powerful piece of material.
Okay, man, we got, round of applause. I want everybody to pick this book up. It's an excellent read. Tamika D. Mallory, State of Emergency, How We Win in the Country We Built. The phone's lit up when you start talking about this section. And actually, since you first came on, we got Amber on the line from Illinois. Grand Risings, Amber. How you doing?
Hey, Am.
Good, thank you. Hi. Hey, how are you?
We're well.
Good. I actually just literally jumped in the car and I heard the topic, and I was telling the gentleman that I just wanted to apologize for us white people that don't understand. I'm sorry. I'm upset.
Well, don't cry.
I've been married to a Black man for 9 years now. I dated Black kids. I mean, I don't even know how to go about saying this, you guys. I'm on the air. Just know that I've dealt with a lot of racism from my family and friends when I was a child growing up because I love the Black culture. And, I just wanted to say that I apologize for all of the stupidity in the world. And that's just basically about it.
Amber, do me a favor. Won't you pick up Tamika's book?
Yes.
Okay. Go read her book.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
I will.
And then you could reach out to her directly on her social media if you have any feedback. Perhaps if she got time, she could respond to it or not.
I just don't like being put on the spot, and I obviously put myself on the spot. But
yeah, you did that all. You did that. You did that all by yourself.
I just want to say, Amber, I appreciate you calling in, and just know that there are many white folks out here who have become great partners in this work. And, we understand that the history that you have is not one that you created, but it is something that you have to work to dismantle. And we want to be partners in doing that.
Yes, for sure.
Amber, you made the call, so that's a step in the right direction, okay? You all right, Amber? All right, you're a citizen, okay?
And Sway in the morning.
All right, cool.
A citizen of Sway in the morning. That's dope.
Well, you like that? Oh, thank you. And Heather B and Tracy G. Sky, what up? Sky in Houston.
Hey, Sky.
Hi, Tamika. Hi. I'm happy I got through. I love your work and I love your readings. And as a young Black woman, I completely relate. Not only as a young Black educated woman do I have to fight against white supremacy in the workplace and in the world, I also feel like as Black women, we also have to fight against each other in the workplace. I feel like when we're working, we're being hazed by other Black women instead of being uplifted and mentored to.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of this conversation, this idea that we are so traumatized. And, and also we just have to always keep in mind that white supremacy has created this unfortunate push and pull and competition between people of color and between black folks, where we feel like there's not enough room at the table. So therefore, we're fighting to try to get to places that make us feel successful. And we'll do it, however, we've been taught this. We've been taught, and I talked about that in my speech last year, that we learned most of these behavioral patterns through the education of white supremacy. And we now have to start the process of tearing those things down and building what it looks like, the world that we want to live in. And I think, for me, one of the most important pieces is for us to be the change that we want to see. You have to actually live it out yourself. And so when people see you, they see light, they see hope, and you become an example of where we're trying to go versus the negative energy that if we don't fight against it, will continue to harm people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I
Scott.
completely agree.
Hey, Sky, thank you for your call, okay? Father's Day is coming up. This is a great book to buy fathers. Just putting it out there, Sky. You're a citizen,
A Sway
okay?
in the Morning. Turn it into a family book club.
Absolutely. Tamika, I can't say it enough. Anytime this platform is your platform, Tell Freedom. This is part of your the whole movement. So anytime you want to come up here, know that we're here for you and we support everything you do. Chapter 15 is the fight is not yet won. Where do we go from here? Can you answer that question for me?
Well, I think that the fight is not yet won, and therefore the fight must be strong. We fought to get a new administration in office. We fought to secure 2 important Senate seats, and now we got to force them to do the work. There's been no time in history where people just did what they needed to do for black people because they liked us. That hasn't happened. We always have to fight. But we're in a better position to get the individuals that are in positions of power to do the work if we can come together and let them know that there's no division among us. We might not be trying to do things exactly the same way, but we all need to be consistent and clear about what it is that we need. And wherever we have the power of our voices and influence, we should be using it to say to this administration that there has to be some real change in this country from a policy perspective. And then the last thing I'll say is that we shouldn't allow the need for policy, the need for that type of change to stop us from building our own and from finding ways to invest together, to build our own schools, to make sure we're educating our young people and that we are taking the time to figure out how we can help one another grow, because no one is going to do for us what we can do for ourselves. And that self-determination, I've been talking lately about this idea that we only study the Kwanzaa principles during December, and we talk about it for 7 days and then we're done. But if you think about self-determination and unity and some of the other important principles, we need to be talking about them all year long, because those principles have in it a very important, a mixture of things that need to happen in order for black folks to be successful in America.
Absolutely. Give it up, ladies
I love
and
you
gentlemen.
guys so much.
Love you
We
too.
love
Love
you.
y'all so much. Thank you.
Tell my man, my son, get some bars ready. We need him to come back up, okay?
Sure. I'll let him know. Don't say that, because he'll be calling you every day like, what's up?
Okay. Good point.
All right.
Nah, I always got room for my son. Tamika D. Mallory, ladies and gentlemen, round of applause. Appreciate you, Tamika. Keep it going. We
Thank
are
you.
here for you, okay? Congratulations on the
Love
book.
to you all.
Love to you,
Yes.
too. All right.